Hello, my name is Sherry Powell Summerhour. I'm a first grade teacher for DeKalb County Schools. My current teaching assignment is at a Title I school that has a heavy population of English language learners. I often struggle with the notion that I may not be providing the appropriate instructional tools for these students to succeed academically. That is why I chose to do a qualitative case study on ELLs, which focuses on test preparation and accommodations on the elementary level within the general classroom setting. I wanted to get further insight on how to get ELLs on a leveled playing field. The No Child Left Behind Act that was created in 2002 supports standards-based education. And this reform is based on the premise of setting high standards and establishing measurable goals that can improve individual outcomes in education. The Act requires states to develop assessments in basic skills, and in order for these schools to receive federal funding, states must give these assessments to all students at select grade levels, and ELLs are included within this. So as to meet No Child Left Behind orders concerning ELLs, most states have moved towards making and expediting a suitable evaluation framework for such learners. So the literature review will focus on the makeup of the average classroom, and it has come to be very challenging to uncover a school or area inside this country that doesn't have an English language learner demographic. The U.S. Department of Education gauges that roughly 4.5 million ELLs are enlisted in public schools across the nation. I will also focus on bridging the gap between non-ELLs and ELLs, English language proficiency, validity of existing assessment measures for ELLs, and the overall assessment of English language proficiency. The research questions that will be of focus will be on how can teachers help students to meet the challenging standards, curriculum, and assessments that are being developed in the general education system. How can general public education systems individualize instruction to better service the needs of ELL? Specific questions that I ask myself concerning my school are, how do teachers at my school provide support to help ELLs to reach academic success? What accommodations or strategies are provided for ELLs during both classroom instruction and test preparation? And are ELLs at my school receiving adequate support, which is a highly essential need for their academic progression? Definitions that will be a focus within my qualitative case study include English language learners, which are students who qualify for language assistance services. Perhaps these ELL students may be students with disabilities or students who have exited language assistance services in the last 2 years, which are ELL monitored. English language proficiency. These are students who are able to participate in regular classes conducted in English without requiring significant English language support. You will often hear me say ELL, which stands for English language learner. Language acquisition, which means English language development. You will see me refer to ELP test within my case study, and this is just English language proficiency testing that is given to ELL. Common Core standards, which are scale scores on the CRCT that are used to determine if the student exceeds, meets, or does not meet these state standards. You will often hear me refer to accommodations within my qualitative case study because I'm focusing on accommodations and test preparation. So allow me to break down accommodations for you. This is just an alteration of environment, curriculum format, or equipment that allows an ELL to gain access to content and or complete assigned tasks. You want to make sure that the accommodations are effective. That means that the accommodation must be effective in making an assessment more accessible to the recipient. Is it valid? Is the accommodation altering the focal construct? The outcomes of accommodated and non-accommodated assessments should be comparable. Is there a differentiational impact? An accommodation should be sensitive to students' background characteristics and their academic standing. Is it relevant? Is the accommodation appropriate for the recipient? And is it feasible? Does the accommodation make logistical feasible implementation in the assessment setting? And you'll also hear me refer to the No Child Left Behind Act, which is also known as the NCLB, which supports standards-based education reform that is based on the premise of setting high standards and establishing measurable goals. My research design is a qualitative case study. The questionnaires will solicit ESOL teachers and general classroom teachers on their perspectives of how they provide support to English language learners. This will include classroom instruction and test preparation, which will mainly focus on accommodations. I would like for this info to guide me in the right direction when it comes to my instruction and better fitting the needs of my ELL population. It will also assist in giving me true insight on whether my school is truly addressing ELLs in regards to them receiving adequate support in their daily learning, which is essential to their academic progression and success. The research participants will be ESOL teachers and general classroom teachers. There will be one from each grade level, which is K through 5, so that I can get a clear perspective from various age groups. In total, there will be 12 participants that will be on a voluntary basis. The instrumentation that will be used will be questionnaires that will be designed for teachers who are responsible for English language development of ELLs and their academic achievement. And this will focus on instructional practices, accommodations, and test preparations and content. This should provide me and other teachers with comparative information about instruction within the school setting for ELLs. I have 2 surveys from SurveyMonkey and one from Secure.org. The procedures for my case study will begin with an email to administration to seek permission to conduct a qualitative case study within my school setting. Once I get permission from administration, I will send an email to the participants that I want to be involved. I will explain the case study in depth. Then I will ask to have a face-to-face meeting with all. At this meeting, I will distribute the questionnaires in a hard copy form. I will tell them that I will need the questionnaires back in a 2-week period, and I will provide envelopes for them to return the questionnaires in a secure format. Once I receive the questionnaires back and review them and analyze them, I will securely put them in a file cabinet within my classroom and lock them for confidentiality reasons. The data analysis. For the qualitative data analysis, a combination of categorization and comparison of the responses to the questionnaire will be used. The responses will be categorized by themes and analyzed for trends used by both ESOL teachers and general classroom teachers for instruction designed for ELLs. The themes and patterns from teachers' responses will be comparative information about instruction within the school setting for ELLs. Information gathered from this case study will further assist me with my classroom instruction for ELL populations and possibly provide guidance for my colleagues. We've made it to the finish line. We're at the end. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.